this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. I'm here with the Showdown for the RR Turbo. I just made it through all the placement races, and that already put you at about 810 trophies. So up to this point, it's all computer opponents. After this, it should be all human opponents, right? So from here to 1300, if you have one of the top cars like I have here, the Mazda Furai, which is basically one of the fastest here for this event, you should be able to blow right through it, and that's my intent here. I just want to get through, get my car, strip it, and be done with it. But at least we should run it to see, you know, just how far we can get as far as the Showdown on day one. Now, mind you, the Mazda Furai, the Essenza, they're all like 6.8 something cars in theory if you can drive it well. But the reality is it's never as easy to drive these cars as it may sound. For example, the F1 is super fast shift. The Furai is a little different in that I need to get basically into second gear almost immediately, and then I have to be patient without hitting red line in in second gear to hit nitrous in third, and then 4, 5, 6 very quick, very short shifts. So to actually physically get into the 6.8s is not as easy as it may look. The same can be said for the Essenza, which, you know, again, theoretically 6.8s should be easy with that car. In practice, there's a short third, and then you got a nitrous right. So fully max, none of these cars are easy. And it doesn't matter if it's the F1, the Furai, or anything else. This is one of the things about this game is that there are only a few cars that theoretically are actually good fully maxed. Almost none of the rest of these are any good fully maxed. Most of them actually are pretty bad. So fully maxed cars doesn't really interest me. I do mess with them a little bit here and there, only for these kind of events, simply because you have to. Showdown, if you're not one of the fastest fully maxed cars that can run the time, you're not going to get far. And then, of course, there's always the hackers that'll beat you with another second or so you'll never win. But at least you'll be competitive up to a point as long as your car is one of the top cars. Here, the reason I'm going with the Furai is because I know I can compete against 99% of the F1s without a problem. And in fact, 99% of most of the other cars without a problem. And I can get through this thing very quickly, so I don't waste time running this car for a long period, because I have no love for Showdown, and I only run it simply to get the prize cars and be done with it. Generally speaking, I'm probably losing out on a lot of resources by not running Showdown, but quite honestly, chasing after a max car for every Showdown is frustrating in and of itself, and I just don't have an interest in it. And I'm perfectly happy to here and there run a Showdown, and this way, at least for my purposes, it's enjoyable. It doesn't become a stress, and it doesn't bother me that much. So not the greatest run, but 6.893. Wow, I'm really having one of those days where I'm looking at the numbers and coming out with completely off numbers. Now, the Furai, unfortunately, isn't. Yes, it is pretty fast, fully max, but in the days of 6.6, 6.5 cars, it's not that impressive. The other piece of this is that until you really downgrade this car, it's not even all that competitive with lesser upgrades. I mean, it's just not as... Oops. This I may actually lose because I forgot to shift out of first right away. Oh, actually, I made it. I've got to shift out of first into second right away. Now, the problem with this car is that, of course, until it's either fully upgraded or it's really lowly upgraded, it kind of sits in a funny spot where it just isn't that competitive. In live racing, matchmaking is what it's all about. Unlike in Showdown, where it doesn't matter, you're always matched by trophy, not by car. In live racing, you're matched by dyno, but also by performance point, and that makes a difference in whether the car will be able to be competitive in what is essentially bracketed lobbies. So it's very different from Showdown, and this car unfortunately just doesn't shine there. I wish it did, but it does not. So in that sense, you know, it is even given that it is actually the best out of the batch of this whole Supercar Science, so this is the best one you can get out of Supercar Science that's actually viable in live beyond Showdown and the event itself. So, and it's kind of a cool car. I mean, it does look cool. It is one of a kind. So there's something to be said for getting it, but you can't get it for gold. You have to get it for money, and unless you got it before from some event, your chance of maxing it without spending more is pretty lame too. So, you know, it just isn't that great in that sense. The whole event is kind of mediocre with rewards as far as cars are concerned. LDR8 LMS, pretty fast, but again, you never really see them in live lobby except for Foley Max swapping. The Huracan STO, same thing, and Foley Max is not even that quick. And then the Ascenza itself, same thing. Foley Max is okay for swapping, but outside of that, not that useful. So these cars are just not what I was expecting out of an event as complicated as Supercar Science. You know, you're doing all this work to get here with these cars. You're paying money to get the car. You're building them. You're spending a lot of resources. Your hope always is that you will end up with a really nice car that will do well, and unfortunately that's just not the case. So as you can see, if you don't even have a maxed F1 Foley Elite 50 Foley maxed F1 and you can drive it, you won't even make it here. I mean, I've ran nothing but F1 since about 1100. That means anybody with less than that are still back in the 800, 900s struggling. Every single F1 I've ran into so far are not only Foley maxed, they're Foley Elite, and most of these guys also know how to drive them. So you're not going to be having an easy time of getting to 1300 no matter what. I mean, this one here is even closer than the last race. So you're getting some of the best F1 racers here. 6.933, that's a very good run from an F1. If I didn't manage a 6.8 race, I might have lost that. Now, slightly poorly shifted Furai will not get 6.8. You know, 6.8 is not easy. It's not hard, but it's not easy. The best you can get out of this is about a 6.87. I haven't even seen anything closer to that. I mean, I have a 6.89 as my best, really. So it's just very hard to get that good of a run out of any of these cars. And the F1's even worse. I mean, I've driven the Foley Max F1 to even get a 6.93 out of that. Very difficult for me. I'm mostly in this range, 7.0s, because the shifts are incredibly fast. You have to catch them. You have to launch just right. So the F1 is by no means a fun car to drive Foley Max. And if I was driving that for this event, I'd probably be a lot more upset and, you know, be spending a lot more time here trying to get this done. Here I'm doing pretty good, and partly because I'm using a car that's definitely faster and easier to run. I picked the Furai again because it's easy to drive. I don't have a lot of issues with it, and I can relatively consistently hit 6.90 range, which means until I start running into cars like it, the Ascenza or others, I will have no problem winning. Now, I got the car, at least theoretically I did. I hope it didn't freeze. Okay, good. Now, one thing about this Showdown, this is going to happen to people, and you're gonna complain, is that you see this here, 1316, right? Now, by all statistics here, I should be at 1316, and it says 1318. But then when you go back home, you got to keep your fingers crossed that it's even over 1300, and that the car is in fact in your mailbox, because sometimes it doesn't happen. It doesn't even show up as a prize in your mailbox because, well, it's not sure you got it. Where's my car? Dude, where's my car? That's like that movie. Dude, up there it is. So there's a lag between the time you finish a race and when the points get calculated. And that goes back a little bit. You know, let's say you were losing and winning, your numbers may not be anything close to what you think it is. But in my case, because I didn't lose anything, 13, 18 came in. But even then, you notice there's a lag before the prize car actually showed up in my mailbox because the computer's still catching up. So get used to that. And I'm not denying at all that there are definite issues with trophies not even being counted. You know, just magically not happening. Now, the other thing I want to show you guys is this, is that the only time you get to strip most of these purple star cars that are not unique is right now. If you own one, you can strip the new one as it was being delivered. If you don't do it and say keep car, you're stuck with it. Okay? After that, you won't be able to strip it. So that's your one chance to strip. And if you don't like owning 3 or 4 of the same car you'll never build or do anything with, now will be the time to strip it. And then the real question is, what kind of junk fusions are you going to get? So far, all greens, all green. Can you imagine? Oh, at least I got 1 red, 2 red. How about a stage 6? Yes, trends should be good. So, and that's it. So 3 epic pieces and the rest are green. I didn't even get any rares. And that's from stripping a 5-star purple star car that I just won from Showdown. So that is unfortunately how it works with this game. A lot of luck, a lot of crossing fingers, tapping wood, you know, throwing salt over your shoulder and wiggling that rabbit foot around all at the same time, while praying to every deity you can think of. And you still may not get what you want. Unfortunately, that's the reality. But at least here you see that the Showdown, as of today, and this is, I think, day 1 still. It's it's day 1 still. Just to get to 1300 will require you to basically get in there and do, you know, use a fully maxed top car. Now, a lot of us also have fully maxed Asenza because we've won 2 of them so far. This is number 3. So we've had chances to build that car through the events as well. That might start to appear for this event as well. But I suspect most of those guys by this time of the day have already moved beyond 1300. They're fighting somewhere up there in the 2000 or 1800, maybe 2200 range. I say let them have it. My only goal here is to get the car and I'm done. Yes, there are things here that people want. Usually that people will tend to want to go at least for that because those are hard to come by. But then to get to 2500, it's going to take a few days unless you have some really crazy top cars. And there's a good chance none of us, without, you know, going the route of magically manipulating numbers, will ever see 3000. Some guys will if they play hard enough and if they have the, you know, ability to hit the keys that good. I mean, I'm not denying there are people with ninja fingers and ninja-like reflexes out there that can pull it off, and they have the best iOS device that will run absolutely the best shift pattern right on time, and they can catch it with their eye as well. So those are the guys that'll be up here until a hacker shows up and kick them off. So that's Showdown for you. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I got the car, I stripped it, I got 1 stage 6, so hopefully it's not a dupe. And that's that. I'll be tackling the event next at some point in the near future, and then I'll update with that video. So anyway, that is the current Showdown with the Mazda Furai. I hope you liked that video. If you do, leave a like. If you like my channel and you like to get notifications when I put up these kind of videos, subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll get those notifications. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.